Hello everybody, it's Cashino and we have an image of a self-portrait which I did using my Tokina 100mm very good lens. So the aim here is to change the background. So I'm just going to go through, there's 1,000 ways to do this in Affinity Photo, but I'm going to go through one which I think is the most straightforward way. So the tool we're going to use is the selection brush tool. So as you can see in the top left hand side here, we're going to select it. So as we've selected it now, we need a bigger brush size. So I'm going to use the right bracket key to increase the brush size. So that should be about a good size, and then draw around our image just by going from left to right. So as you can see, I'm doing certain areas and I'm pushing it out from the inward outwards to cover the area, and it's snapping to the edges of the images. So another thing to check, let me just stop in the middle here. If you go up here, you can see it says snap to edges. So if you have Affinity Photo, make sure yours is checked where it says snap to edges. So I'll go back to the image and continue my selection now, which is just pushing the selection out to make sure it covers all the area. So I've got to these hands bit here and it's just snapping in nicely. So we get to here, this area here, and that's as much as I could do there. So everywhere else on the outer side smooth and nice, but if you zoom in, you're going to do a lot of zooming in. So let's go here, we've zoomed in here and you can see this area so has not been selected. So again, I'm pushing out, but before that I want to reduce my brush size. So when I reduce my brush size and push out to the right, it should cover that area nicely. So a lot of zooming in, a lot of zooming out, and then reducing or increasing your brush size accordingly. Again, I zoom in here and there's a little area here which needs, so I'm going to reduce my brush size. So I choose the left bracket key and reduce the brush size there and push out. That side is now done, and now I'm looking at the hand. So it's going to require a bit more work here. So I'm going to increase my brush size a little bit and then push out from left to right, and that area is selected. We've got this area which hasn't been captured here. So again, I'm going to hold down the Alt key this time because I want to push inwards, and as it will show, it's selecting that area as I push with the Alt key held down. Again, I zoom in further and I can see a very small area here. It's very small, but still need to capture it. So as you know by now, I need to reduce my brush size so I could select that area. So make sure your brush size is a bit smaller than the area you want to select. That's the key to it. So now I've done that, I hold down the Alt key and just drag my selection out from left to right. I've done that and it's a bit over, so I'm going to just click from the edges here to reduce the area selected. So again, I could reduce the brush size and push out. Oops, I mistakenly got rid of that selection. So to go back, just do Ctrl Z and you're back there. So that's another little tip. So the only area that remains that I could see is here. So let's just say I forgot that. Yep, let's just say I forgot that and I thought, yeah, I'm done, I've selected everything. And then I click on the next step, which is at the top here, the refine button. So I click at that refine button, and there it shows me all in red, the background, and you can see the bit that I've missed out. So from here you could quickly go back and sort of click on the background and do that, but the easiest way for me is to just cancel that and go back to this area here, because it's easier for me to just zoom in again And now to get this area, I would have to increase my brush size again. So that's like a decent size for this small area, and hold down the Alt key and click. So I've selected that area, but you can still see there's a smaller area there. So which means in our fashion is that we need to reduce our brush size further. So now that I've done that, I just hold down the Alt key and push from left to right to cover that area. Boom, that's done. So we've selected everything, but still go over, zoom in, zoom out. So let me check these edges here. Look, there's still another bit here. So again, with the brush size, make the appropriate brush size, which I think this is fine. So the next thing I need to do is hold down the Alt key and push forward. And that area is now selected. So just be prepared to do a lot of zooming in and zooming out, but the more you do it, the more you get used to it. So we can see this area is fine. Then we go to the edges. That is fine too. Go up, check there, that's fine. And that area is fine too. So once you're happy with your selection, you just double check it. So zoom in, zoom out, make sure every area is selected. And now we can click on the refine button again. If you were dealing with other areas, if there wasn't selection there, you could just click on matte and you could tell Affinity to recheck the area. Not needed in this picture, but if you're dealing with a picture with like a lady who had loose hair strands, then you would need to do that. But for this, it's fine. So we're happy with this. So all we need to do is in our output section, choose new layer mask. Not mask, sorry, just new layer as seen on screen. So choose new layer and then click apply. And we have our layer here and minus the background. So that's exactly what we wanted. So we're happy, good to go. Now we need to get a background. So to get a background, we click on the rectangular tool, select the rectangular tool, and then make sure it's the same size or bigger than the image. So by default, this has gone to white, and then we click in the top left side, the fill. So when we click on fill, we could choose any color we want across the range, or you could do a gradient. But just for being straightforward in this situation, let's just go for black background. So let's just choose a black background like so. So we've got our black background, and this layer, because it's the last thing we've done, it's at the top, and that's not what we want. We want our image to be at the top, and then our background could be below it. So just drag the image, no, not like that, drag the image to the top or inside, and you can see it appears like so, and everything is fine. So that's the end of the tutorial. But in some cases, if you look around the edges, you might see a little bit of a line that shows across. In this case, it's not showing, but depending on the color you choose of the background, you might have a line. So in that case, you just go to your dodge and burn, choose your burn brush tool, and make sure the hardness is around 17 and opacity around 34. And the next thing you can do is just go over your image just around that line where it joins together with the background. So it might not be needed in this case, but I'm doing it anyway, just so everything sort of blends in, and that just gets rid of a white line which might appear when you're doing such works like this. So just go around it, go over, and you do that as many times as you need to for the image, depending on if there's a thin white line appearing here. In this case, not needed. Everything is fine here. I'm zooming in so you can see the work we've done. Look, even that small bit area is convincing that it's the background. So it's better to take time and do this slowly and do a lot of zooming in and zooming out, so you make sure you capture the areas once and for all, because the worst thing is you doing all this work and then realizing you didn't capture your areas. But as you can see from our example, this is a very straightforward process if you just take time and do a lot of zooming in and make sure your selection is correct from the start. So thanks for watching this video, and please give it a like, comment, and I will try and do some more. I'll try and do one of a model after this. Let's see if needed. I'll just go through that, because with that it might be a little bit more complicated, so we'll go through that. But thank you for watching, and do subscribe, do leave a comment, and like I always say, if you know something, share something. Cashino, thanks for watching.